Looked like a skateboard, but it was a bodyboard. And Jack would surf through the hallways at night when the other patients were not using the hallways, and they would race him against his own times. They would challenge him because they knew he was competitive, and that would build up his upper body strength. He worked with a series of therapists there who were just fabulous. They started his cognitive retraining, and he worked on an Apple computer.
I was an inpatient at Bryn Mawr Rehab for about 6.5 months. When I first came out of the coma, I could not walk. So I was having to get around using a wheelchair for at least a year. I was involved with outpatient therapy from Bryn Mawr Rehab for probably the next 5 years.
One of his first therapists was Kathy Cosgrove, who was fabulous and worked with him for months and months and months. Later came back into his life as a case manager for another rehab company, and then later as a case manager for an insurance company. And so she was an integral part of Jack's moving forward.
I met Jack Scanlan approximately, I'm thinking like 19 or 20 years ago. And I was working in a community reentry program for traumatic brain injury. And Jack was one of the patients that I work with to help reacclimate back into society in general, you know, just as a job and thinking processes, and just helping him to kind of figure out where he wanted to go in the world and what he needed to do to get there.
I went through many different types of therapies. While I was at Bryn Mawr Rehab, I went through cognitive therapy, I went through speech therapy, I went through occupational therapy, I went through much physical therapy. And I did some recreational therapy.
From the very first time I met Jack, he was like that little engine that could. He was always the person who said, I think I can, I think I can. And I often, when I work with patients now, will use Jack as an example, because they said he wouldn't walk, he walked. They said he wouldn't talk, he talks. They said he wouldn't do all these things. And when I look back over the years, I can honestly say he's been one of the most rewarding people that I've worked with, because he never gave up. So you can credit all the professionals, all the team of people, everyone that touched him in some way. But that inner strength and that fire all came definitely from Jack.
I would like to be an advocate for disabled persons, but I'd also like to be there for the non-disabled community in understanding and learning how to work with persons with disabilities. I am here to be an inspiration.
Jack's had many, many people in his life that have made him what he is today.
One of Jack's other strengths is just a very committed family.
I think that the one thing that Jack has that many people don't have is that he has a huge supportive family. His immediate family, his sisters, have never left him. They have stood by his side. They have supported him. That does not mean that they enable him. It does not mean that they don't give him tough love, but they have stood by him these 25 years. He has something like 54 first cousins, and every single one of those families has been involved in Jack's journey along the way. He's had cousins who are so faithful that they see him almost every other weekend. They're a blessing and a gift.
I am also looking to eventually develop a talk show and interview persons who would like to learn more about the dealings with disabled individuals.
And my advice to him in this TV venture is start small. And I know he has big ideas, and big ideas are wonderful, and you should have big dreams. But you have to demonstrate success one step at a time.
For people to truly understand the impact of what a traumatic brain injury is and how it affects every aspect of your life, I think that is best told by a person who's been through that experience.
Polish this so it's a jewel, and really think about what it is that he wants from it and how he wants to influence the general public about knowledge of head trauma and what they can do to help folks who are in this situation.
I would never say you won't do anything, because I learned my lesson. You always seem to beat those odds.
That pretty much is my story, and I'm sticking to it.